Shifting focus now to the other battlefield. Russia has been flooding Ukraine with missiles, drones, those relentless attacks. But the biggest threat may not be the biggest or the most expensive weapon in Moscow's arsenal. Let's tell you about a new, cheaper cruise missile, which is now appearing more often on the battlefield, hitting Ukrainian targets while forcing air defenses to fight a war of numbers. And as Russia fires more missiles than ever, Ukraine is striking back deep inside Russian territory. Our next report decoding this for you.
The war in Ukraine is becoming a numbers game. More missiles, more drones, more targets, and more pressure on air defenses. Russia has just fired more missiles at Ukraine in a single month than ever before. An AFP analysis says Moscow launched 376 missiles in July. That is more than double the number recorded in June. But one number stands out: 126 ballistic missiles. For comparison, Russia fired somewhere between 200 and 300 ballistic missiles during the whole of 2024. Now, Moscow has launched 126 in just 1 month. The escalation has been brutal. On July 2nd, a Russian attack on Kyiv killed 30 people in one of the deadliest strikes on the Ukrainian capital. And behind this massive bombardment, a new weapon is becoming increasingly important: the Banderol. This is a relatively cheap cruise missile that Russia is reportedly using alongside larger missile and drone attacks. Its maximum speed is 620 to 650 kilometers per hour, while its cruising speed is 520 to 560 kilometers per hour and range of 500 kilometers. The weapon has been reportedly used particularly against Odessa and its critical port and grain infrastructure. Why does that matter? Because Russia does not always need to fire its most expensive missiles. It can send cheaper weapons in large numbers. The goal is saturation. Ukraine's air defenses have to detect every incoming threat, track it, identify it, and then decide whether to fire an expensive interceptor. This comes at a time when Ukraine is running very low on anti-missile defense systems like the Patriot. If Russia can send waves of low-cost cruise missiles alongside drones and ballistic missiles, it can force Ukraine to spend far more money defending itself. But Ukraine is not sitting still. Ukrainian drones continue to strike deep inside Russia. Kyiv has also increased its attack on Russia-annexed Crimea. Moscow says several people, including children, were killed in the attack. Ukrainian strike again targeted a warehouse belonging to the Russian e-commerce giant Wildberries. Since mid-July, Ukraine has struck around 20 sites belonging to Wildberries, which is also known as Amazon of Russia. So the war is escalating in both directions. Russia is increasing the volume of its missile campaign. Ukraine is expanding its drone strikes, and the battlefield is becoming a war of industrial endurance. Who can build more? Who can launch more, and who can force the other side to spend more defending itself? The Banderol may be cheaper than Russia's biggest missiles, but that could be exactly what makes it dangerous, because in this war, the weapon that costs less may ultimately cost Ukraine much more. Bureau Report, WION World is One.